Welcome to Nona's Here. I'm Nona, and today's a really special day. I'm so glad you decided to join me. Today I'm joining Women Supporting Women, Here's Your Crown, hosted by Freckled Mom DIY and Connie's Nails and Creations, co-hosted by 6 Kids and a Glue Gun. I'll be sure and link their channels down below. Let's get crafting. My first DIY is from Rebecca from Style My Sweets. She did this craft over a year ago, but I kept it in my file because it was something I wanted to try. All right, here's what you're going to need. This is a glass vase that I got at Dollar Tree, of course. I've cleaned it off with alcohol and a cotton pad to be sure to remove all the dirt and the fingerprints. And then I have a bath mat that I got at Dollar Tree. I'm going to use my Fern Waverly chalk paint. That's a dark green. There's the bath mat I'm going to use. And of course I have my paintbrush and a little bowl. Oh, and I'm going to use some tumbling tower game blocks and my glue gun. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay the vase on the bath mat and measure how I need to cut it. I want the top part to have the little scallops on the bath mat, and then I want the bottom part to be flat. So I'm measuring how I'm going to cut the bottom part so it'll be flat, and I'm marking it with a magic marker. And I'm going to cut it straight across, and then I will measure the bath mat to make sure I have it long enough that it will wrap around, flat on the bottom with the little scallop part across the top. Just marking it with the magic marker to make sure I have enough to wrap it around. Okay, I have enough. Now I'm going to hot glue it down one side at a time. And then I will wrap the other half down, pulling it taut so that it's nice and tight, wrapping it around, and then I will glue the other half, the edge to edge. I want it to be pretty tight so it stays straight. It does have a little bit of a sticky inside to it, and I'll tell you, there's a little bit of an odor to it, to the bath mat. I noticed it when I was working with it. Little bit of an odor. Okay, so I want to make sure it's glued down really well. Make sure all those bubbles and edges are glued down. Okay, so there it is. It's all glued down, the scalloped at the top and the flat at the bottom. Now I'm taking my Waverly Fern paint and I'm painting. It did take it about 2.5 coats because even after the second coat, there were places between the bubbles where I needed to go back with my brush and get in between the bubbles to make sure that there was paint in there. It took about 2.5 coats. So now I'm gonna put it aside, and now Rebecca had this great idea where she put the tumbling blocks in a circle, hot glued around the top, and put the vase on top of the tumbling blocks to make a base. Perfect. She didn't have to glue each tumbling block side by side, so I thought I'd try it. Well, guess what? Nope, didn't work. One fell in, and I burnt myself. Dang, that hurt. Okay, so now we're going to try again with some new tumbling blocks. Now they're in a nice circle. I put the hot glue around the top, just like Rebecca did from Style My Sweets. Carefully this time, steady hand, don't knock any of the tumbling blocks over. Take the vase, carefully put it on top of the tumbling blocks. Carefully press the vase down. Press it down. Now, they're kind of coming out. Well, end the suspense. It didn't work. They fell over. They didn't stick. See, wait a minute. You'll see. See, they're coming apart. No, I tried to hold them together. Trust me, it didn't work. It was failure number 2. So I tried something else. So I went and put salve on my finger, and I had these little blocks that were from a game that I got at Dollar Tree, and I decided I'd use those blocks. That seemed simple enough. So I hot glued 3 of them on the bottom, and you can see I've already put in some white rocks. So I put in the rest of the white rocks into the vase, and then I stuck some fall leaves and flowers in, and that completed my fall vase. And now I'll show you what it looks like in just a minute, but first I'll show you how beautiful the ones are that Rebecca from Style My Sweet did. Okay, at first she did hers as a candle and didn't paint it. You can see how perfect her tumbling blocks are on the bottom, which she stained. Then she decided to paint it, and she spray painted it, but when she got done spray painting, she said it was like the paint didn't dry, it was like sticky. So she took a scrap piece of the bath mat and painted it with chalk paint, and it dried just fine. So I took her recommendation and started out painting mine with chalk paint because she said the spray paint just never seemed to dry. So that is Rebecca from Style My Sweets candle, and then she painted it and made it into a vase. So Rebecca from Style My Sweets, and here is your crown. And here is my fall vase with the fall foliage all finished. The last Saturday of every month, Connie's Nails and Creations and Freckled Mom DIY offer YouTube crafters the opportunity to participate in Women Supporting Women, where we can choose another crafter's project and try and do it our own way. And then we give the crafter whose project we tried a crown. And they usually have a co-host, and this month's co-host is 6 kids and a glue gun. Of course, I will list the playlist down below in the description box so you can see every crafter who participated in Women Supporting Women. Now let's get on to my second DIY. For this DIY, Women Supporting Women, I am going to use a craft that Kay did. Don't ask me which one is Kay. I don't know. But this is from Crafting Cousins. For this craft, you'll need a 14-inch wire wreath form, some pipe cleaners. I have some, oh, this is Deco Mesh. Mine is 6-inch wide, 9 yards long. Some ribbon, 3 different kinds there. Don't know which one I'm going to use. I have a gather sign. All of this I got at Dollar Tree. And I have some fall foliage. Different kinds of flowers and leaves and different things. Okay. I have my cutting board out, and I have my rotary cutter. Now, if you don't have a rotary cutter, you can certainly use scissors. Okay, that's my self-healing cutting board. So you can see I have my computer set up because I'm following Kay along. So the first thing that Kay told me to do was to put one pipe cleaner in the inner 2 rings and twist it. So I went around, there's 6 sections, and in each section I took one pipe cleaner and gave it a hard twist inside the inner 2 rings. Then Kay told me to take 2 pipe cleaners and put on the outer 2 rings in each section. That would now give me 9, 2, 4, 6, 8, 12. That would now give me 18 pipe cleaners on my wreath form. So I did that. Then I realized that Kay was using 10-inch wide Deco Mesh from Hobby Lobby, and I was using 6-inch wide Deco Mesh from Dollar Tree. So I went back and doubled everything, where she told me to put one pipe cleaner inside the inner 2 rings and 2 pipe cleaners on the outer 2 rings. I doubled it. 2 pipe cleaners on the inner 2, 4 pipe cleaners on the outer 2. So that I had twice as many pipe cleaners as she did, so that my wreath form, my wreath would be as full as hers was, because she was using wider mesh. The 9, both of our mesh decorative mesh was 9 foot long, and we were going to cut it into 20-inch lengths. And she only needed 2 rolls. I needed 4 rolls, but it comes out exactly the same. So there's mine. So it's full of spiders, many more spiders than hers had, because I doubled everything. I'm calling those pipe cleaner spiders, okay? So there we go. Now it's time for me to cut my mesh. She only needed 18, I needed 36. So I lay out my mesh on my cutting board and I start cutting my mesh into 20-inch strips. I need 36 strips. So I'm cutting out the Deco Mesh into 20-inch long strips. Have to set something heavy on the end because the Deco Mesh rolls up. Doesn't take long, and of course, as I said before, if you don't have a rotary cutter, you can use scissors. Just cutting it up. You can watch TV, listen to music. It doesn't take long to do this. All right, it's time to make our ruffles to put onto our wreath form. The first thing we're going to do is lay out, I already started, I thought I had my camera on video, but obviously I didn't. So we're going to lay out our one strip of deco mesh, because mine is so tightly rolled, I have to put something heavy on the top. I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to roll it up 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to put the heavy thing on the top. And I'm going to take it at the bottom and I'm going to roll it up 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to scrunch it towards the top, doing the itsy bitsy spider. Scrunch it, scrunch it, scrunch it. Hold it tightly till I get to the very top. Scrunch it, scrunch it, scrunch it. Now here's the important part. You got your ruffle all together. Flip it over. Now you're ready to put it on your wreath form. You're going to put it on, we're starting on the inside rings where we have 2 spiders. We're just going to go section by section. We're going to take 1 set of spider. There goes Grumpy Grandpa walking right by. We're going to take 1 set of spider pipe cleaners, give it 2 good twists, and go to the next piece of deco mesh. I'm going to spread it out, put something heavy on the top, go to the bottom, give it 3 good rolls. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to flip it around, put something heavy at the top to hold it down. Go to the bottom. There goes the cat. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do the itsy bitsy spider and scrunch it up towards the top, holding it tightly, 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 all the way to the top, scrunching it, scrunching your ruffle. Now we're going to flip the ruffle over. Okay, now we're going to go to our wreath form and attach it to one of the spiders on the inside 2 rungs, keeping it left to right. Excuse me, left to right, giving the pipe cleaners 2 good twists. We complete the inner 2 rings first. All right, so now I've completed the entire inner 2 rings. For me, that was 12 spiders, keeping all of my ruffles going sideways around the wreath. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to roll my deco mesh exactly the same way and attach it to the spiders on the outer 2 wreaths, which there are 4 in a section, 6 sections, so that's 24 spiders. Okay, there I finished. Now I'm leaving my pipe cleaner sticking up, which is just fine, because now I am going to attach my sign that I got at Dollar Tree that says gather. I'm going to take the sign, it's just a little wooden sign, and I'm going to take my utility knife and I'm going to cut it apart. All right, so I've got the gather words off of the sign. I've simply taken some of the spider pipe cleaners and attached it at the corner and wrapped the pipe cleaners around. Now I'm ready to attach the flowers. And it's kind of hard to show you, but it's probably a little easier to explain. I took the florals and I left quite a stem on them. And so I cut them off with quite a long stem. And then I took the spider pipe cleaners, which are all sticking up through the top of the wreath, and I stuck them down through the back of the wreath form, flipped the wreath form over, put the flower on the top of the wreath form, stuck the flower down in, and then took the spider, see me pulling the pipe cleaner through, and then wrapped the pipe cleaner around the stem of the flower and kind of stuck it through some of the rungs to make sure it was secure. And then any of the pipe cleaners that I didn't use for flowers or leaves, I just stuck them through, wrapped them through the rungs, and clipped them off. See there, I'm pulling through the pipe cleaners through the back. Now I'm going to stick the flower through, the flower stem through, flip it over again, and then wrap those pipe cleaners around the flower stem and through the rungs to make sure they're secure. And then at the end, any of the pipe cleaners that were still sticking up, I just stuck them through the bottom, gave them a few twists, and clipped them off. And then at the very end, I took a pipe cleaner through the top and twisted around and made a hanger. Simple as that. So let me show you what Kay's wreath looked like. Now, she did hers very differently. She used wide ribbon on hers, and I chose to use flowers. Two different ways of doing it, but we rolled our deco mesh the same. Hers is quite beautiful. So stay tuned. So here is Kay's Home Sweet Home peach wreath with peach colored deco mesh and gorgeous ribbons, wide ribbons, different coordinating ribbons that she put on her wreath. I think it's just beautiful. I just love it. So I think that's a really beautiful wreath. So Kay from Crafting Cousins, here's your crown. And here is my fall purple wreath with the fall foliage. Tell me down below what you think. Thanks so much for visiting, and I hope to see you at Nona's here again very soon.